that you can be vulnerable and powerful, that taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you.
30 seconds.
Love.
Gracias.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcoming everybody at the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison, at the intersection of State Street and Fairchild. Zommers, a cloudy day as we take a look at the Sam Davidson street cam in downtown Madison this morning. Cloudy fall day, seasonal out there. People milling about downtown Madison. Leaves starting to, well, the one tree across the street there still has a lot of green on it, but the other one is yellowish and losing its leaves. Kind of like my hair, losing its leaves. Zommers, I feel like my voice has gotten worse again today. Would you?
I think a little bit.
A little bit. Apologize to all of our listeners. Continue to push through. I'm just glad so far it's nothing worse than a salivary gland stone and I think some seasonal allergies. But yeah, I apologize. It's not more pleasant to listen to, but we'll try to push on. And a big show today. Glad to have you along with us here in hour number 2, a Wisconsin Fun Fact, and very seasonal edition of What's Worse today, raking leaves or cleaning gutters. We'll talk about that in hour 2. Should be a good time had by all. Going to follow up on a story that we started yesterday on changes happening at CBS News. Of course, the parent company Paramount has been bought by Skydance or merged with Skydance. And they hired Barry Weiss, who ran the conservative-leaning Free Press. They paid her 7 times the value for that online publication, $150 million. And they made her the editor-in-chief of CBS News. And now yesterday there was word from John Dickerson himself, one of the co-anchors of the CBS Evening News. He is leaving that broadcast and the network by the end of the year. Unclear whether it was entirely his choice. And now 60 Minutes, former 60 Minutes producer Bill Owens speaking out. And more news today, changes coming fast and furious. Paramount's going to announce at least 1,000 job cuts tomorrow. And Barry Weiss, you're not going to believe who she's courting to bring into CBS News. We're going to tell you that in a little while here. Also going to talk about Governor Evers' press conference yesterday and laying out, and I think this is good, in real terms, what it's going to cost Wisconsinites for their Affordable Care Act, i.e., also known as Obamacare. What it's going to cost Wisconsinites, new premiums, if the tax credits are not extended by Congress as a part of this shutdown. We'll tell you in real numbers what that's going to mean. Also, we didn't get to this. There's been one of these, so many things out there. I feel I think we should need to just revisit this, and we will today. Over the weekend, Canada put out a great ad from Ontario to put in context what traditional Republicans in this country, especially Ronald Reagan, thought of tariffs, and Donald Trump did not like it. We'll let you hear the ad for yourself on that as well. Other news, and so we got a great cut by our own Mike Clemens. He interviewed Aaron Rodgers over the weekend as part of that Steelers-Packers game. And I don't think it's been play it in its entirety. We'll play it later on today. Great question by our own Mike Clemens to Aaron Rodgers about an iconic moment in his time in Green Bay in Rodgers' own words. So we'll play that for you as well.
Yeah, great question and a great answer, I will say.
It really was. And you stayed up, Sommers, for the World Series last night?
I stayed up for part of it. Once we got to the bottom of inning 12, I just said, you know what? It's time to call it a night. My roommate, who's super into baseball, he went to bed in the middle of inning 11. And I was like, you know what? If he's not staying up for this, I'm just going to go to bed.
It was a 2-for-1 game. It went a full 18 innings. 18. Most ball games are 9. So basically they played 2 games last night. It got done in the wee hours of the morning. And
God, so tired.
Freddie Freeman, who, of course, gave the Brewers everything they could handle and more in the NLCS. Freddie Freeman in the bottom of the 18th, as Mike Clemens reported. Walk-off home run. Dodgers win 6-5. They go up 3 games to 2. No, 3 games to 1, right? I don't know what it was. No, it's 2 games to 1 right now. So anyway, it was an exciting World Series and game last night. I did not watch it. I was trying to recuperate the voice and it's chilling out last night. But anyway, we'll keep on that as well. But first, at 11 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock, want to bring you this. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time because it's international news, but I think it's of the importance that we need to at least mention this on this program. Headline, courtesy of the Associated Press, Gaza ceasefire tested as Israel and Hamas exchange fire and blame. In the Gaza Strip today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he has ordered the army to immediately carry out, quote-unquote, powerful strikes in Gaza. And Hamas responded by saying it would delay handing over the body of a hostage, putting new pressure on the tenuous U.S. brokered ceasefire. Associated Press reporters and witnesses heard tank fire and saw explosions in various parts of Gaza, including Gaza City. The order for the strike came after an Israeli official said Hamas had fired on its forces in southern Gaza, and after the Palestinian militant group handed over body parts yesterday that Israel said were the partial remains of a hostage recovered earlier in the war. To kind of just cut to the chase on this, and I'm no expert, but listening to actual legitimate expert reporting out of the region, part of the ceasefire deal was that Hamas would turn over the live hostages, which, as far as we know, they've done to date to Israel, and Israel turned over Palestinian prisoners to Palestine, which they did. And then the other part of it was that Hamas would turn over the remains of those hostages that died while in captivity. And they've been delivering remains. And yesterday they were supposed to deliver Hamas remains to Israel. And after the testing by the official Israeli department that does autopsies, through DNA evidence, they determined that the body parts that were given to them were, how should I put it, more remains from someone they already had. So in other words, obviously the body had been completely decomposed, and so they already had those remains, and through DNA they were able to say, no, you didn't give us everything. This is nothing new. This is remains of somebody we already have. And that's kind of set things off. I don't know that anyone really expected this so-called Trump broker deal to hold. And as I've said in this program before, if Trump's people had anything to do with the ceasefire, look, I'm glad for it. But the ceasefire, as many are in this region of the world, is tenuous at best. So we'll continue to follow that on this Tuesday for you as well. Much closer to home here in Wisconsin, and we've talked about this on this program before. And it's something I think is only going to continue to be one of the top stories in this state. Data centers, whatever you want to call them. This from Channel 3000 here in Madison, the CBS affiliate. The village of DeForest, which has just It's a suburb just north of Madison, has been approached for a possible data center. A data center company is exploring whether to build a center in the village of DeForest, according to village administrator Bill Chang. He said that the QTS data centers approached DeForest about possibly annexing land for the center. The village has not yet received any petition for annexation or land use approvals. Chang said if an annexation petition was filed with the village, it would be reviewed with state statutes and with other considerations of the project's impact on the village. The project will also be reviewed by the Wisconsin Department of Administration. We're seeing this all over the state. And God bless Charlie Berens, who normally does not wade into partisan political battles. Great comedian, great, he hosts Minute to Walk Minute. He's the keeper moving guy. You see him now on Quick Trip ads. Great guy. And he's using his platform, Charlie Berens, to bring awareness to this and say, look, these data centers, they ain't everything that they're cracked up to be. And we've had people on this program before talking about this. I don't like them at all. I'll just be honest. I don't think there's any reason to have them in Wisconsin. Look, we're going to have data centers in the United States, whether they come to Wisconsin or not. And this whole line that they're using to sell this to people in Wisconsin is, oh, look at the jobs we're going to create. Look at the tax base we'll create. Well, most of the jobs are going to be robotic. It's not going to be thousands of jobs. And the trade-off is, as Charlie Berens has pointed out, almost every place these data centers are built, the price of electricity to you and I, the general Wisconsinite, goes up. And add into that the millions of gallons of water that these data centers need to cool all this stuff. And again, these data centers, it supports the cloud. Right, Summers?
Yeah, and one quick note on the water usage. A lot of them are using different cooling system with a closed loop, so it's not consuming water necessarily, but it still could raise the temperature of a lake, which is really bad for fish. Or even with a closed loop, instead of using up water, now it's just going to use a lot more electricity.
Right. No, you're absolutely right, and that's what leads to higher prices. And as Charlie Berens, as you pointed out, Summers, we don't know the full implication to our lakes, our fish, our streams. And I think most Wisconsinites value the fact that we have some great trout streams in this state. Has some great places to lakes to fish for bluegills, crappies, walleye, bass. And I think we better be pretty careful and do some more research here and ask some more pointed questions. And I've said on this program, I get it from a local elected official standpoint, because unfortunately, the Republican-controlled legislature at the Capitol is not appropriating the amounts of money they should to help support local governments. So the local government is faced with the choice. Either A, raise local taxes on our constituents to pay for things, or try to do one of these kind of out-of-the-box deals. So the local elected official is put in a box. But be careful before you sign these agreements, because the implications to our communities could be lifelong. Come back, take your phone calls, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, and also tell you about AI. What skills will keep you employed in the age of AI? We'll discuss it and tell you what they are on the other side. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
Madison. Students, government.
All right, let's do a little test here.
All right.
Troy, can you hear us?
I'm Dan Schaefer.
Yes, I can.
And we can hear you. Beautiful. Okay.
We've been having trouble lately, Troy.
I knew you were like yesterday, I think it was, but
Yeah.
you still thought maybe it was hanging on.
Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, thank you, Troy. I appreciate it.
All right.
Good to double check. Hey, no problem, brother.
All right.
All right. Just a minute. Okay, cool. Glad that's
will take.
We have tested for those watching the stream. We're testing our equipment.
At the recombobulation area.
every once in a while you gotta give it a good go, and it's like if you don't use your car all winter,
Right.
it's not gonna start up.
That's a
the
good.
way you
That's a
like.
good. That's a good analogy.
So
Gotta keep
every
the
once in a
spark
while you gotta
plugs
plow
going.
through the snow.
Yeah.
And delays for the
Billy
next
bop,
8
bop,
years
bop, bop.
in order to shave a few minutes off suburban commute times while the city streets and city problems go ignored once again.
Find all of Dan's work at the recombobulation area.
From lakeside sunsets to State Street debates, Madison never runs out of stories. At 92.7 WMDX, we share the ones that matter most. With local voices, smart talk, and news you can trust. Because this is our city too, 92.7 WMDX, where Madison turns up the volume on real conversation.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the
30
Wisconsin
seconds.
Broadcasters
Gracias.
Association and this station.
Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 22 now, past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Tuesday, October 28th. Aaron Zummers on the board. Glad to have you along here, talking a little bit more about another proposed data center, this time in the south central part of the state, here in Dane County, one of our suburbs of Madison, called DeForest. Not the trees, but DeForest. Anyway, one of these data centers tried to hone in, and I get it from local governments who are not getting the appropriate amounts of money from the state capitol and the Republican-controlled legislature for local government to keep services going. Then they say, well, okay, we either got to cut services locally or we got to raise the local taxes on our friends and neighbors. And along come these out-of-towner, out-of-state, and sometimes out-of-country folks that say, well, here's a few $1 million if you let us build a data center. And it's all kind of ambiguous. It's like, oh, yeah, we all use data. And the more that we use the handheld devices, right, the more data centers we need to store all this. But what isn't being talked about enough, particularly in the state, is the damage this potentially could do to our waterways, to our fish in those waterways, and the fact that it could raise electricity prices on the average everyday consumer. So I caution people. I mean, there was another one down in Janesville last night in Rock County, where another data center, they want to take over the old GM plant, General Motors plant that closed years ago, want to transform that into a data center. Well, if you ever been to Janesville, they have the beautiful Rock River and everything there, and none of this, very little of this is being taken into consideration. And so I urge this could hit every part of Wisconsin, you guys. So I hope everyone listening to this program, when these data centers are proposed for your local community, go to the meetings, ask questions, because this is going to affect all of us as Wisconsinites in one way or the other. Let's go to the phone lines, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Troy, listing in Mount Horeb on WMDX here in Madison. Troy, thanks for calling. What say you?
I'm wondering in the Milwaukee area how they're getting these approved. Waukesha had to beg for water from the Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Every border state and Canada to the Great Lakes had to approve Waukesha getting water. So how are these data centers being allowed to use these massive amounts of water?
I don't know. I don't know the 100% answer, Troy. My best guess, educated guess is, and I'll double check myself on this. My guess is because Waukesha was going to use that water from the Great Lakes as part of their municipal water system, where these data centers, the way that they present it, at least in some cases, to Zomer's earlier point is, well, they're not actually consuming, quote unquote, the water. They're just letting it pass through to cool their system. So they're not actually taking water out of the Great Lakes. They're just letting it pass through. And my guess is that's the difference.
You would think these governments wouldn't want the lake's temperature to be raised like it's going to.
Bingo.
On that also, and they would object to that as well.
You would think. And I think there are citizens and groups out there that are doing just that. But the point, Troy, you bring it up, I've talked about, is that I get it, right? As a former local elected official in this state, I get it that when costs are going up locally and the Republican legislature is not giving you the amount of money that you need, then as a local elected official, it's either you got to look your friends and neighbors in the face and say, I'm voting to raise your taxes, or these people come in from out of town and dangle.
Wreck your environment.
Right, but the way it's being presented, and you've seen, Troy, you've seen this, I'm sure. I mean, the reason I'm so skeptical is because I was working in the state capitol for former Republican Senator Dale Schultz when Scott Walker tried to did fracking in this state and overrode local governments to allow fracking in the state, and also the same snow job up in northern Wisconsin. And this is how they sold it. By the way, thanks for calling, Troy. This is how they sold it, was that tens of thousands of jobs. All we have to do is change our environmental standards to make it easier for mining companies. And remember that state of the state that Walker had, Scott Walker, where it looked like the Village People behind him. they had guys in hard hats and picks. And remember, they brought the state flag and said, "Oh, look, there's a miner on our state flag. This is our heritage." Well, yeah, when the state was founded. And they used that as a reason. And the leader in changing Wisconsin's environmental laws to do this was, as they say, Toxic Tom Tiffany, who is in the state Senate at the time, now wants to be governor. And you know how many, and they passed, my boss was the only one on the Republican side to vote against it. And they passed it, and they changed the environmental laws to endanger our rice fields, our native rice fields, to endanger our trout streams, to endanger our lakes, to endanger the Great Lakes, to endanger people's drinking water. And how many jobs has it created? 0. Not one. What time? We haven't got time yet. Ollie and Kurt, hang on. We got to do a little farm news with our friend Pam Yonke and the Midwest Farm Report, and we'll come back and discuss this a little bit further, because I think it's an important. I get the allure. All right, it's not that I don't understand the allure for local governments, but I've seen this movie before. I bought the T-shirt. I know how it ends, and it ain't good for Wisconsin. Come on back. 855-752-4842 is the Allbaugh Show for a Tuesday. We will talk more about data centers, and we will tell you how to survive AI on the other side of the Civic Media Radio Network.
92.7 WMDX. Smarter than your average bratwurst.
You're listening to 92.7 WMDX, Madison's home for the Maggie Dawn Show.
Wait, did
Monday
she just
through
say
Friday
you're listening
from
to
4
the
6 p.m.
92.7 WMDX?
It is
Don't think so.
possible by the end of the week, more than 40 million low-income households will face no food stamp assistance, no help with grocery bills at all. I'm Pam Yonke with a quick update on what's happening in food and farming news on a Monday. But Wisconsin farmers stepping in to help their local communities. That story's next.
Whether it's finally getting that blue ribbon or enjoying too many carnival rides.
All right, Ollie and Kurt and whoever else will take your calls on the other
Here's your
side.
chance to share those stories in our
And for those
Everybody
watching
Has
the
a Fair
stream,
Story contest. The Midwest Farm
we'll talk
Report is
AI.
teaming up with the Wisconsin Association of Fairs.
What
as they
skills
look
will
for
keep
the
you
grand
employed
champion fair story.
in the age of
Enter the Fair
AI?
Story contest for a chance to win a cash prize at MidwestFarmReport.com.
The National Farmers Union, along with the Wisconsin Farmers Union and Farmers Union Enterprises, trying to do what they can to prop up rural communities when it comes to food assistance programs and the lack of funding that may occur by the end of the week. Darren Von Ruden, president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union, says that they delivered 35,000 pounds of pork to Feeding America in eastern Wisconsin.
Just felt that with the current situation and farmers, especially in a bad spot, but also with the federal government and not knowing if there's going to be SNAP dollars available, wanted to make sure that communities around the upper Midwest had a little bit extra protein to consume and be available for those folks that can't afford to buy it. And, it's one of those things that as farmers, we want to make sure that people have high-quality food.
Darren Von Ruden, president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union, says the 35,000 pounds of pork here in Wisconsin, part of a bigger donation effort across 5 states. They donated a total of 175,000 pounds of pork to 5 different states.
From mealtime to snack time, Pork has got you covered. Toss chops, rice, veggies, and seasonings in one pan for a weeknight flavor that gets everyone excited. Or add Italian sausage to soup for instant comfort food vibes. It's flavors worth sharing around the table because when pork's involved, every meal becomes the main event. For more crowd-pleasing recipes, visit tastewhatporkcando.com. This message brought to you by Wisconsin pig farmers and the Pork Checkoff.
And in case you didn't know it, this week is Bat Appreciation Week, not just in Wisconsin, but it's an annual international celebration. Did you know that with over 1,450 species, bats make up about 20% of all mammal species, making them the second largest group of mammals on Earth? Want to learn more about
I did
bats?
not know that.
Go to the Wisconsin DNR website
batty.
and search for bats. That's a quick update on food news on a Monday. I'm Pam Yonke.
Thanks, Pam.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Pam's a
Students,
national treasure.
Government, lakes, and 92.7 WMDX.
I'm meteorologist Rodney Price. A mostly cloudy Tuesday afternoon with an east breeze. Highs will reach the upper 50s. Clouds tonight will start to break up. Temperatures dropping into the lower 40s. By Wednesday, we're talking mostly sunny skies with highs in the mid-50s. Right now, it's 55.
What's going on with Earl Ingram?
The No Kings rallies across this nation, they reminded me of, it was an organization called the Tea Party. Senior citizens were a part of the Tea Party, and there are a lot of senior citizens involved in the No Kings rallies.
Listen to the Civic Media exclusive podcast, What's Going On with Earl Ingram. Find the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through
30
their mid-20s.
seconds.
Gracias.
one goes out to Toxic Tom Tiffany.
Baby, can't you see I'm calling?
What's Toxic by Britney Spears?
Nicely done. Welcome back to the program. It's Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock. Britney Spears and Toxic. Well done. It sounds like the way they, I mean, it was just, that's the way the song is, but it freaks me out because it sounds like it's cutting out or something.
Yeah.
It's a weird
It's
song.
just the way that the samples are, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the implications of people like Toxic Tom Tiffany, former state senator from northern Wisconsin, now U.S. congressman that wants to be governor, running for it in next year's elections. These data centers in Wisconsin. By the way, as I'm told, we forget a great report, by the way, from Midwest Farm Report Director Pam Yonke talking about the pork producers giving away meat in Wisconsin to people who SNAP benefits could be cut off at the end of this week. I want to return to that a little bit later because our own Dan Schaefer, the recombobulation area, similar thing happening in Milwaukee. So especially for our listeners on WAUK, I want to come back to that. But right now, talking about these data centers, there's one going to be proposed here in Dane County in DeForest, one down in Rock County, a new one they had a hearing on last night in Janesville, happening all over the state. And I get the local elected officials are intrigued by this because they don't want to raise taxes of their local friends and neighbors, and the Republicans in the state legislature aren't adequately funding them. So these out-of-state and sometimes out-of-country investors come in and say, well, I'll give you X millions of dollars to build a data center. But what we don't know yet is the full impact it has on our streams and lakes in terms of fish population and our drinking water. And we do know that in most cases where these data centers have been built, local electricity prices to local consumers go up. So I've seen this movie before in the Walker administration when they gutted environmental laws on mining in northern Wisconsin and said they're going to bring all kinds of jobs, and it turned out to be a boondoggle. The environmental rules got gutted, but no jobs. So I'm just bringing this up because it's going to affect all of us in Wisconsin. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go first of all to Ollie in the North Woods, listening on WBZH in Hayward. Ollie, thanks for calling. What say you?
Well, I'm so glad you're bringing this up again and again, because I think people really need to know how disastrous this can be for our state. Water-wise, electric-wise, bills have gone up. I've been checking this out for quite some time and watched a lot of videos and done a lot of research, and the amount of water that they use is horrendous. And they go to town halls and they tell people what the people want to hear.
Right.
That money is coming your way, but they don't tell them the real story. And I watched people from towns in the South say how bad it has been for their town. People who live next to them, their wells have run dry. They have sludge in their pumps instead of fresh water. And these are farmers that this is happening to. Can Wisconsin, the land of the dairy farmer, afford to have this happen here? Out in the Northeast, I don't remember exactly what state it was, but they had a drought, normal drought, but it was made 10 times worse by the amount of water used by the data centers.
Yeah.
And you also brought up the point about mining, which has been on local news recently, that they plan to relax any regulations when it comes to data centers.
Right. No, it all goes together. Ollie, thanks for the call. all great points, and I'm not saying I'm an environmental lawyer and have all the answers here. I'm just saying based on research that I've done, but listen to other people. Charlie Barron's isn't going to risk his livelihood or his reputation of being an honest Wisconsin straightforward guy if he didn't have some data. And I admire Charlie Barron's for coming out against these data centers. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Kurt, listening on WMDX here in Madison. Kurt, what do you want to say?
I'm really glad you're having this discussion because as someone who has an engineering background, I see a lot of stuff that I cringe. I couldn't believe of what happened. So to get to the point is what we're discussing here is the externalities of what will happen if we put a facility like this in different places of the country, or in this case, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And if that same logic and procedure was done with everything, just about everything we consume, I'm not talking about groceries and stuff like that, but the things that we buy in the store and 2 years later throw away and ends up in a landfill,
right.
It would change the landscape of pollution in a staggering way. And the only other thing I want to add into this is if we are going to do the data centers, then maybe we should have someone smart enough to conduct business like Alaska did with the pipeline.
Right.
So you put everything in place to ensure that they're not pulling groundwater to exhaust their water. They're not polluting. They're not. And they have to engineer this in a way that it's almost zero impact. You'll never get to zero, but then collect the fees. Have say you want us to have this? Screw us getting the increase on power and water. No, for every megabit of data that flows from these things, you're going to be writing us a dividend check.
Yeah. No, great call.
Back into Wisconsin.
Great point, Kurt. Really appreciate that. Really thoughtful and being an engineer. Important call as well. I appreciate that. 855-752-4842. Let's go up to beautiful Northwest Wisconsin, the Chippewa Valley on WCFW. The Tap up in beautiful Eau Claire. Gene in Eau Claire. Gene, thanks for calling. What say you?
Great job here. Wonderful topic. You know, the people that this is impacting right now, everybody needs to educate themselves, and thank you for providing that. People need to do more. And your local representatives, and we've been through this. I've been through this with sand mining BS that went on and all the stuff that comes with that. But your representatives need your support in order to turn down these companies. And the larger the number of constituents that stand up and call this out in their concerns, the easier it is for those people to vote no. And they are offering the world. There's so many things that are impacted, your streets and roads. That comes to you when they're doing the construction part. You guys will be paying for it. It's unbelievable. And, you know, we saw the debacle. People lost their lands, you know, when they grabbed their lands, annexed their lands. Farmers lost property and stuff, and it was a big boondoggle. So thank you so much, Todd, for covering this. And people, please be aware. Talk to people who have dealt with this. Really do your research because it will impact you, not in a positive way. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gene.
Day.
Appreciate you, Gene. Gene Eau Claire, WCFW, The Tap. Gene brings up a great point, which is all of us, but everywhere across this state, you have a much larger impact on your local municipality. All right? That's not to say that I'm anti No Kings Rally or anything like that. I think they're great. It gives people a sense we're not alone. It shows American discontent, you know, standing up to power. I think that's all great. But simply based on my own experience, major protests, with maybe the exception of the civil rights movement, but big protests usually don't have a direct impact on an outcome. I worked in the Capitol when 100,000 people showed up to protest Act 10. And other than my former boss, Dale Schultz, every other Republican didn't care. And the reason my boss voted no wasn't because of the 100,000 protesters. He voted no because he went into his own district and had 700 people in a gymnasium at Dodgeville High School. And that was repeated in Richland Center, in Mauston, in Reedsburg, in Platteville, in Lancaster, and he listened to his own constituents. So protests, major protests, usually don't have a direct line of impact on law or policy. What does have an impact is when you show up to your local city council meeting or your local town board meeting or your local county board meeting or your local school board meeting, because the people there know that you're directly voting for them or not. And so Gene's point, show up at these local governmental meetings. It will have a huge impact. 855-752-4842, talking about data centers in the state of Wisconsin. They're going to touch everybody, you guys. So if it hasn't come to your community yet, be prepared. Rick in Waukesha, listening to WAUK, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Rick, what say you?
Well, they're talking about the heat temperature in the lake. Do they have any kind of holding ponds to cool the temperature down?
Great
before
question.
They put it in the lake?
Right.
You know, somehow to not make it such a big shock.
That's a great question, Rick. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much, Rick and Waukesha on AUK. These are the types of questions that we should not only be asking at local meetings, but we should demand scientific answers for. Brett in Brown Deer on WAUK says the one thing they are trying to put in Port Washington, or the one they're trying to put in Port Washington, the data center, will consume as much energy as it takes to power 4 million homes. That demand will raise everyone's electric bills, and it has no other choice. The Chuckster. Haven't heard from the Chuckster in a while. Great to hear from the Chuckster in Racine. Listening to WMDX actually here in Madison. Must be using the Civic Media app. Don't forget, you can too. Download it for free on your Apple or Android device. The Civic Media app. It's free. Takes less than a minute to download. It's what Gail King over at CBS News, at least for now, calls a deal. We'll get into that in a minute. The Chuckster says, wasn't it the Scott Walker / Donald Trump era of our state GOP lawmakers changed water use and access laws for Foxconn and its promise of 13,000 jobs? It was the Walker administration, but part of it lingered on into the Trump administration. Trump was not president when the Foxconn deal was cut. Talk about another boondoggle. Ask people in southeast Wisconsin about that. All right, it is 47 minutes past the hour. I want to make sure we get into this. AI, artificial intelligence. All right? A lot of people worry this is going to take jobs, right? What skills will keep you employed in the age of AI? Well, humans are already losing jobs to artificial intelligence, but others are getting new jobs because they know AI and how to work with it. Adapting to AI will not be simple. It will require continued learning. Working with AI means questioning its results and keeping up as AI continues to improve. Adapting to AI won't be about technical skills. It'll be about having good human judgment. We're going to talk a little bit more on the other side. How we survive AI is taking your calls as well on a Tuesday. 855-752-4842. Come on back. It's the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Connecting audiences, powering brands. This is Civic Media. Learn more at civicmedia.us/advertise.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Well, have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. Can I run payroll too?
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
No fear here, just monster savings at Verlo Mattress of Madison. This October, the only thing creeping near your bed is a deal too good to miss. We custom make every mattress so you know exactly what's inside. No tricks, just treats. Save hundreds on mattresses, foundations, headboards, sheets, and more. Monster savings at Verlo Mattress of Madison. Upgrade your bedroom and unleash the sleep of your dreams. American made, locally crafted, Verlo. Hurry in before these monster savings vanish. Verlo Mattress of Madison.
What is a commercial? It's a message delivered to the people, in this instance through your radio speakers, into your ears. Why, it's like a movie for your brain. This radio commercial is directed to the business community. If you want to reach more customers, you should be using WMDX Radio. It's that simple. Just email sales@WMDXradio.com and let our crack sales team show you how to make your business grow with the #1 medium known to humankind, the radio commercial on WMDX. Long may you wave.
Cranberry juice, cranberry wine, cranberry broth.
I wasn't paying much attention, so I missed most of
And
that.
excuse me, but my cranberry bread is ready. It's cranberry season in Wisconsin, and we're the cranberry capital of not just the U.S., but our farmers also produce more than half of
We
the
should have done, it's
world's
too late now, but we
cranberry
should have done a
supply.
show
So
in
can
a
you guess
bog,
which state
in a
Wisconsin
cranberry
beat out
bog.
to earn
That
the
would be
number
cool.
one spot? New Jersey, Washington State,
Maybe next year.
Massachusetts? The answer
Um,
coming up. Fall
I
is
think,
harvest time, and you can see the
It'd
machines
be very
rolling through the
interesting to
marshlands,
figure out
which are
how
flooded
to
help the
waterproof
cranberries float
the
to the top.
equipment
But it
set up
hasn't
in
always
the
been the
bog,
season.
and you
Back
wear
in the
those big waders.
mid-1800s,
You
the
know?
berries had to be picked by hand. It took another 100 years for the right equipment to be built to help with this harvest. Okay, so Wisconsin owns the cranberry capital title, but which state lost it to us? Massachusetts, which has been number 2 ever since. By the way, the cranberry is the official state fruit, making it a true slice of Wisconsin. I'm Terry Barr for the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is Robert Pilot, host of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we talk about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. You'll also hear from Turtle
30
Island
seconds.
voices like Arvina Martin, State Representative Heather Keith.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. I've looked into the future. I've consulted a crystal ball, a futuristic. I'm going to perish at the hands, the paws of an AI dog, a robotic. I know it. That's going to be the death of me, the robotic dog. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show, everybody. Nice job, Zombers. What is that, 1987? Mr. Roboto?
83, I think,
83.
actually.
Wow. All right. Very good. Zombers on the tunes there. Glad to have you along. 8 to make it 7 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock. Hour number 2 of What's Worse for You. Raking leaves or cleaning the gutters, a Wisconsin fun fact. Lots to get to. What's happening at CBS, how it's going to impact the news that we watch. Truth is endangered right now in legacy news media. Tony Evers talking about the Affordable Care Act premiums for Wisconsinites. We'll get to that. Oh, Canada, the new ad driving Trump nuts. And Mike Clemens gets Aaron Rodgers to tell a cool story about his time in Green Bay. All that in hour 2, so stay tuned. Right now we're talking about the skills that you need to stay employed in the age of AI. Also talking about data centers here in Wisconsin. Just to finish up the AI part, we said adapting to artificial intelligence won't be about technical skills. It will be about having good human judgment. Good judgment is based in honesty, trustworthiness, and ethics. Good judgment that enables us to use data from a machine to help make decisions that are good for humans and good for business. I think that's some pretty good advice, Tom. That's how, because, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't believe in my lifetime, Maybe, but not my life. They're not going to come up with an AI that can completely replace the human brain in terms of ethics.
No, I don't think so. That's, at least so far, that's one of the few things that can distinguish being a human. That's one of the things that makes us human.
Exactly. 855-752-4842. Let's go up to beautiful Merrimack. Jack in Merrimack. Jack, thanks for calling in, listening to WMDX. What say you?
Well, first of all, the thing that obviously makes us human is being able to pick out the traffic lights on a 3x3 grid.
Right.
That's another picture.
So right. Are you a bot? Anybody who's ever tried to log on to something, are you a bot?
Which, quick thing, bots can do those puzzles. The thing is they do them too fast.
Oh,
people are slow. That's why it works.
All right. Jack, well, go ahead.
Okay. So the issue with data centers is complex, and I know you realize that. The problem I see is everybody has a not in my backyard attitude that has been talking on your show so far.
Right.
And
including me, by the way. I'll put myself in that category, but go ahead.
But we're going to need them, and they're going to be built somewhere, and what has to be done, and of course with the current administration this is not going to happen, but those kind of things have to be appropriately regulated, just like a lot of other businesses should be, which they aren't being done either on this administration. But that's another topic. But the bottom line is for instance, yes, you should have cooling towers, and I'm a scientist, but I'm definitely not an expert on data centers, but if you're going to use a lot of water and it's going to be heated up, you're going to have cooling towers before you end up recycling that water. One of the other things is that there should be a requirement that if you build a center like this, you supply at least 50% of the power. Solar panels, wind power, and batteries. I don't care how it's done, not fossil fuels, but that should be another important thing about regulating these data centers.
See, Jack, you just made it clear. One of the reasons I love doing this show every day, because of people like you and all of our other great because you bring balance to the show, Jack. You've kept me honest, and I appreciate that, because you're right. I'll put myself in the NIMBY, not in my backyard category, but I think you make a great and important point that it's not, and we've had people on the show that have said, look, you can't just stop data centers from ever happening, but it's how you do it. And I appreciate the balance, Jack, and I guess I'll give a qualified opinion, which is, yes, if it's done like you're suggesting, under a heavy regulation and done the right way, quote unquote, a correct way, okay. But I have no confidence in, as we sit here right now, in the next 3.5 years, that will happen, and that's why I'm so opposed to it. Is that fair?
That's certainly a reasonable approach with the current administration. I mean, the whole idea is laissez-faire economics with this administration.
Right.
Which is you can't have a capitalist society with no regulations whatsoever, and that's what these guys want.
Yeah. Appreciate the call, Jack. Have a great day up there, beautiful Merrimack. Forgot to ask about the ferry. I think it's still open. Ferry is still open up there at Merrimack. All right, I want to hit this quickly. Dan Schaefer passing this along. The city of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, Milwaukee Public School District, the Milwaukee Bucks. How about that? Faith leaders and other partners are launching a unified effort to ensure families have access to food and basic necessities during the federal government shutdown. Food share benefits are expected to be paused on November 1st, i.e. SNAP or food stamps, due to the ongoing government shutdown. In collaboration with the Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin and Nourish Milwaukee, the drive will collect non-perishable food and monetary donations to support Milwaukee area food pantries. We'll give you more details in hour number 2. Come on back. Lots of current event topics, and what's worse, and Sommer spinning cool tunes. All that and more for a Tuesday edition of the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Kilroy! Kilroy!
That's good.
2.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news, great conversation. A civic media station.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. Residents and tourists in Jamaica sheltering in place as Hurricane Melissa batters the island. The storm hit as a Category 5 hurricane on the west coast, now the most powerful hurricane recorded in the Atlantic Basin. ABC News meteorologist Kenton Joecki says winds of 185 miles per hour have weakened a little, but not enough to lessen the threat.
The rest of the day today, Jamaica is really going to be in for it, especially the western half of Jamaica. That's where the worst of this is going to be.
ABC's Ika Jachi is in Kingston and says Melissa is churning.
Welcome to Jamaica, Mon. Have a nice day.
Isn't necessarily just the wind, it's the sheer volume of rain that's staggering. Some areas could see up to 40 inches by tomorrow, triggering that catastrophic flash flooding and landslides, especially in the hilly and mountainous regions.
The Jamaican military and fire brigade say they are ready to respond for
That's
search and
a
rescue
punchline to a great joke that I probably shouldn't tell.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that your human judgment there is spot on.
Yeah, my human judgment, my AI, my human
Farm
judgment.
Report, right here on 92.7 WMDX.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Crime is dropping in Madison, so say Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and newly sworn-in Police Chief John Patterson. They held a public safety briefing Monday. WMDX's Parker Olson has more.
I think the headline really is that our city continues to see consistent downward trends.
Those downward trends include a 43% decrease in burglaries at
Today on the Tom Hartman program,
52% decrease
Todd
in stolen
Allbaugh's
autos
favorite
at
mayor,
230
Satya Rhodes
last year.
Conway.
And a
Satya Rhodes
50%
Conway,
decrease in
welcome to the
homicides,
program.
with 3 this year. City leaders say violence prevention requires a collaboration and a variety of approaches, including CARES.
Look,
a program
crime
that
is
started
down,
in
that's good.
2021 that
It
sends
is?
a team to certain nonviolent emergencies. Instead of police officers, teams are made up of paramedics and mental health workers.
CARES has quickly become a trusted partner out on the street. If you listen to our radio dispatch every day, officers are routinely requesting for CARES assistance. They're routinely trying to divert and deflect more calls away from them and towards CARES, and I think it has clearly played a significant role in what we're seeing across the city.
And CARES is in high demand, say leaders. The program is expanding to some prairie, but other communities would like to participate in the program too. Fire Department Assistant Chief Chris Hamas.
Only 2% of the individuals that we encounter with CARES are transferred over to law enforcement. That's a really huge impact, and as Chief Patterson alluded to, it's freed up the officer workload there, and it's really directing the individuals
Tuesday,
to the
October
services they
28th.
need instead of the traditional response
That's
where
today.
it would have just been historically a fire EMS response or a law enforcement response. It's only about 130 individuals out of the 6,700 individuals that we've encountered with CARES.
Mayor Rhodes Conway says the people on the ground are working to make Madison safer, and she says that's of particular note given the rhetoric over crime in major cities. She said if the federal government was serious about creating safety, it would invest in giving more resources to local governments.
That's Parker Olson. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
Bucks basketball tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. NBA, the Bucks are at home tonight against the New York Knicks. Both teams with records of 2-1. The Bucks coming off a loss on the road to Cleveland. Giannis
I enjoyed today's Wisconsin
The
fun fact.
Cavs had the best record last year. They're one of
They're
the
always
best teams
fun.
in the East. Nothing's guaranteed.
Michilimackinac. Never thought I'd say that.
Game 3 of the
Michel-
Yeah, I guess it does look like that's how you would say it.
Most since the World
Michilimackinac.
Series in 2018.
Michilimackinac.
Freddie Freeman hit a home run in the 18th to lead the Dodgers to a win over the Red Sox. Last night, it was Freeman again, this time against the Blue Jays on Fox Sports.
Freeman sends a fly ball.
Oh,
Going back before the clock strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero on a Game 3 classic.
The Dodgers winning 6-5. Game 4 is tonight in L.A. The Dodgers up 2-1 with Sports on Mike Clemens.
farm news that impacts you
Oh, how I
and your
missed the
community
whipping winds.
from the Midwest Farm Report throughout your day on 92.7 WMDX.
She's in the wind.
Meteorologist
She's
Rodney
in the
Price,
wind.
a mostly cloudy Tuesday afternoon with an east breeze. Highs will reach the upper 50s.
Never to
Clouds
be
tonight will
heard from
start to
again.
break up. Temperatures dropping into
People
the
come
lower
and go
40s.
into our lives.
By
It's
Wednesday, we're talking
just the way
mostly
it
sunny
is around
skies with highs in the mid-50s. Right now, it's 55.
All those who have passed through our doors in 3 years.
Driver, Austin Cinderfield.
Quite a few.
So many.
As a NASCAR Cup Series driver of the number 2 Discount Tire Ford Mustang, there's a few rules of the road I like to tell my family and friends. Tire pressure is critical to safety because underinflated tires are more likely to fail. Plus, properly inflated tires will give you better gas mileage. Make sure to check your tire pressure at least once a month or stop by a local tire retailer for an air check.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
The John and Gordy Show.
The leaky boot. Just some of the amazing things that you can see here. You never know what you're going to drive into next when you go into these small towns. We just get into weird things, big musky statues and giant Paul Bunyan in the Dells. We just look stupidly large,
30 seconds.
unbelievable
Gracias.
things, just really trivial things.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big broadcast on this Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome in, everybody, to the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison, intersection of State and Fairchild. Great to have you along, Zommers. Voice still a little raspy. I apologize. Continue to, we'll see. Doctor trying to figure out what's going on with the old salivary glands. And I don't know. I had to stop the Claritin because of that. And I think it's also allergies on it. So I apologize to the listener for being a little raspy. I sound like I've been smoking a pack of cigarettes or something.
Oh, no, not that bad.
Really?
No.
All right.
But, I think on Friday, instead of eating Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the most popular Halloween candy, Todd's going to be sucking on lemons.
You're right. That's probably what I'll be doing.
Or at least eating sour candy.
By the way, today, October 28th, it was 3 years ago today, that I walked into our humble studios on University Avenue, and Alice Schneiderman said, "I'm not sure we have a desk for you." True story.
We didn't.
And we didn't. And I sat next to Alice, God love her, and that was the beginning. And I was hired. People don't realize this. I was hired at this company to be the administrative assistant for our CEO, Sage Weil, and our then president as well. That was what I was hired for, with the opportunity maybe in 6 months to pitch my own show. And by the end of my first day, I was informed that I was going to be given my own 3-hour program, and it started in 2 weeks. Honest to goodness, that's a true story. And thus the opportunity arose, and Zommers and I were thrown into the fire together. And it's this is not the anniversary for the show. That's coming up next month.
Right.
But because we have 2 weeks from now. But yeah, it was my first day on October 28th. 2025. And you know what? We've hunkered down and we've survived, Zommers, which is more than I can say for some people.
Yeah, it started off a little bit as the Wild West, but with a strong vision to follow. Yeah. We've been honing in on it. Like the company's all been honing in on it ever since. So.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So I always appreciate the opportunity to be with each and every one of you every afternoon. from 2 until 4 coming up in this hour. Got lots to get to, so don't go anywhere. Tony Evers talking about the implications to a lot of people in Wisconsin who use the Affordable Care Act, in other words, Obamacare, for their insurance. And newsflash, it's not just for, kids in their 20s living with their parents. It's, as we heard last week from our friend David Umbihan, a cattle farmer in Richland County, it's a lot of farmers who use this as well, and other great people all across the state. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Canada, Ontario last week or over the weekend released a great ad, and Donald Trump is trying to rewrite Ronald Reagan's legacy. We'll explain. What's happening over at CBS? Dangerous to all of us who consume news. The truth is in danger, and already people are leaving, with more to come. Important that we keep track of that, so we'll talk about that as well. I want to finish up this thought. We said it right before the break. Really important stuff. I know Pam Yonke, our farm director at Midwest Farm Report, mentioned that the Wisconsin pork producers are setting up a mechanism to give away pork to people in this state who are on SNAP benefits. For a long time, they were called food stamps, because that's going to run out after Friday, unless the federal government shutdown is averted or stopped. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Republicans, who control all 3 branches of government, essentially, will not open government back up. So let's just focus on Wisconsinites. People are going to go hungry if they don't get some help. Pork producers are stepping up. Thank you, Wisconsin pork producers. Also now news, our own Dan Schaefer, political editor and founder of the Recombobulation Area, giving us this information, particularly for our listeners in Milwaukee on WAUK, Milwaukee Waukesha. Great cooperation between the city of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, Milwaukee Public School District, the Milwaukee Bucks. How about the Bucks? Also faith leaders, other partners, setting up these food share benefits, or rather it's called a collaboration with Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin, and Nourish Milwaukee. It's a food drive collecting non-perishables food with money donations to support Milwaukee area food pantries. The food drive begins immediately now and will continue until food share benefits are restored. For donation and assistance information, residents can visit the City of Milwaukee Food Drive page or Milwaukee County's Food Assistance page. So if you know anybody in the Milwaukee area that needs help, go to the City of Milwaukee's Food Drive page or Milwaukee County's Food Drive Assistance page. Donations will be accepted across both city and county facilities. Going to run these down quickly. Not limited to, but includes Milwaukee City Hall, Milwaukee County Courthouse, Zeidler Municipal Building in Milwaukee, Marcia P. Coggs Health and Human Services Center, Hillview, Fiserv Forum, all Milwaukee Public Schools, all Milwaukee Police Department districts, all Milwaukee, City of Milwaukee Public Library branches, and Mason Temple Church on 35th Street in Milwaukee. So more information at City of Milwaukee's Food Drive or Milwaukee County Food Assistance page. One of the great things that make Wisconsin great is we help each other out, and I appreciate that. 13 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for a Wisconsin fun fact.
Oh, Wisconsin, land of beauty, with your hillsides and your plains.
That's right. Time for a Wisconsin fun fact. On or around. I like how this one's been qualified because it happened a long time ago. We're just being honest with you. We'll say on or about October 28th, 1818. This is true. The governor of Michigan Territories declared the first counties in what would become Wisconsin. They included the county of Brown, the county of Crawford, and the county of Michilimackinac, which is now present day Mackinac Island in the state of Michigan. Governor Tony Evers intends to retake Mackinac Island by force and rightfully return it to Wisconsin before leaving office in 2027. Now there's some news. Now, wouldn't that be something?
This fact has not been independently verified.
The first part is.
The first part is. The
first
first part is
It's a real fact. We're not sure, but what I think Governor Evers could restore some confidence in his leadership.
Maybe he could. And while we're at it, what about the UP?
Right? It's rightfully ours. All right, I want to mention, speaking of Governor Evers on the serious side here, he had a press conference yesterday. By the way, another one today. Apparently, he got the building commission. He used a couple of swear words and he ginned them up. And the building commission is taking its first steps to unanimously approve modernizing Wisconsin's correctional facilities in the state, which is severely needed. So good on Governor Evers and good on the bipartisan building commission for moving forward on that today. But yesterday, the governor put this out. Says this is from his own press office. Governor Tony Evers, together with the office of the Commissioner of Insurance, Commissioner Nathan Hudek, released the 2026 plan year rates for Wisconsin's individual marketplace that show healthcare coverage costs are expected to skyrocket for Wisconsinites if President Donald J. Trump and Republicans in Congress fail to extend the Affordable Care Act enhanced premium tax credits. Based on increased rates approved by the Trump administration for the 2026 plan year, combined with the significant consequences of congressional Republicans failing to extend and the enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits, many Wisconsinites and their families will see their premiums double, with some seniors seeing an increase of over $30,000 per year. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not going to participate in fear-mongering or scare tactics. What I'm talking about, what the governor is talking about, is those individuals who are currently on or want to try to get on the Affordable Care Act, i.e., also known as Obamacare. Now, could these, if it goes on, could that then affect private health plans in the future? Sure, it could. But we're not talking about that specifically today here with what Governor Evers. And he put this out there. I know you can find it, or I think we can find it at civicmedia.us, I believe. But I'm a big charts and graphs person. So I like the fact that Governor Evers, as part of this, he broke this down for a family of four, a 60-year-old couple, and a 26-year-old individual on using the Affordable Care Act. And as someone, not currently, but as someone who has in the last 5 years, 6 years, when I had my coffee shop, I basically was making almost nothing. And so I was on the Affordable Care Act. In Wisconsin, it's called Badger Care.
Or well, that's Medicaid.
But it was through the I don't know. It was because I had my Wisconsin card or whatever.
Yeah, that's Medicaid. So it's slightly different but related.
But aren't they attached?
It's complicated.
And see, this is why I also went for several years with no health insurance. All right, I'll be honest about that.
Which not recommended
because I couldn't afford it.
Right.
It was either eat or pay my electric bill or have health insurance.
And I chose,
and I didn't choose health insurance. So I mean, I don't gamble a lot, except the really big things in my life. My health. So I went for a long time with no health care. And I guess maybe that's what it was. I went to apply for Obamacare, but I was making so little that I qualified for Medicaid or whatever.
Right.
That's what it was.
That makes sense.
That's what it was. And so I think my premium was like $170 a month or something like that. I don't know. But here now, this is great from Governor Evers. And the point that we had David Allbaugh, a cattle farmer, on last week, talking about the fact that there are a lot of people that are working their rear ends off to make a living, to help themselves, who use this, the Affordable Care Act, for their health insurance. And what Republican lawmakers want you to believe is that, oh, these are for the lazy people that aren't working, who are sitting on their couch watching soap operas, eating Cheetos. It's a very specific example, I understand. But it's not. There's everyday hard-working Wisconsinites that are using the Affordable Care Act, and it's going up soon. Going to talk about that. Also, we'll do a what's worse on the other side. You're listening to the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
WMDX Madison,
All
where
right.
politics meet farmers
My
market
youngest
tomatoes.
sister is in school
want
for
to
social
vote
work
for a
right now.
governor.
Oh.
You do
And
have many
as
to
a
choose from
project,
who have served in the assembly.
one of their classes they
Or
had,
you can choose the one of us
the
candidate.
professor is like,
Hi,
she's
I'm
new
Ryan
there,
Sternak.
but still,
I
this
work
is
for a
like,
living.
wow, that seems really
Sure,
out of touch.
I don't
She's like,
have
I'm sure a lot of
elected
you have not
experience,
had this
but I
experience,
do
so we're
have
going to go
working
through it. We're
class
going to do a
experience.
fake application
Want
for
you want your
Medicaid.
governor
I'm
to
like,
know what it's
really?
like to
You're
be
sure a
in
lot
your
of your
shoes?
students in social
Living
work
that way?
classes
For more,
haven't
go to
had to do this
RyanSternad for
before?
Yeah.
governor.com.
Oh, my
Paid
gosh.
for by Ryan Sternad for governor.
Why are interscholastic sports called the last classroom of the day? Because they teach students important life lessons like teamwork, accountability, and perseverance.
I would venture to say that
School
most of them
sports
have.
are so much more than a game.
Right.
They're about developing the whole person. That's why they're an essential part of every student's education.
Encourage your student to participate in the last classroom of the day. Interscholastic sports in Wisconsin. This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Looking to strengthen the bond with your pup? Dane County Humane Society offers a variety of dog training classes led by certified trainers. Classes are designed to help you and your furry friend learn new skills, improve behavior, and deepen your connection. Whether your dog is a curious puppy, an independent teenager, or a lifelong learner, DCHS has the tools and expertise to help you set the stage for a successful year ahead. Visit giveshelter.org/dog training to register today.
My name's John Driscoll, proud member of the Patriotic Millionaires. When I was CEO at Care Centers, I doubled entry-level wages. The impact? Productivity went up, turnover went down, and the company was successful. When employees are off the clock, they're real consumers, the consumers that drive the economy with their spending. By paying employees a fair wage, we're actually helping out all of us and giving our economy the best chance to succeed.
30 seconds.
I'm John Driscoll.
Thank you.
I'm a patriotic millionaire, and I approve this message.
Daylight saving time ends this week.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where we're reliving music for dining on WRCO from my high school. What did you dial up?
Autumn Leaves,
Oh,
as performed by Vince
very-
Guaraldi.
Oh, very nice. Autumn Leaves. Yeah, well, see, now that makes more sense. We're going to be talking about leaves in a minute. So, see, Zommers is always 2 steps ahead of me. If you listen to that program, that is not foreign news to you. Before we get to Autumn Leaves, though, want to finish this up. Governor Evers is having a press conference tomorrow. I think this is smart. Smart of Governor Evers to lay it out there for people. As former Judge Weissman used to say, put it down there where the chickens can get at it. And he has a chart and graph, which I love charts and graphs. Easy for people like me to understand. And it's talking about if Republicans in Washington don't extend the Affordable Care Act, i.e. Obamacare tax credits, what people are paying now on Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, and what they will pay. And people are already seeing this in their mail because they're getting the renewals for, what do you call it? When you got to
Open enrollment.
Thank you. That's it. Open enrollment. See,
Yeah, honestly-
you're finding out live on the air one of my Achilles heels. I hate paperwork. I hate doing my taxes. I hate signing up for my benefits. I can look at a state or federal budget that's, millions or billions or trillions. I get that. But to do the nuanced stuff of my health care drives me crazy.
I'm not a fan of doing it either. And honestly, I've been getting the letter. I'm on the Affordable Care Act currently, and I've been getting some of those letters, and they're sitting in my room because I've been too afraid to open it and see what the prices are going to be.
I think a lot of people are with you, Summers. Really.
But sooner or later, I'm going to have to. So
that's why we need great people like our Human Resource Director, Jacqueline, who, by the way, Jacqueline is still out. She is still working for her alma mater, LSU, trying to find a replacement for Brian Kelly.
Hard work.
Hard work down there in Baton Rouge. All right, let's get to this quickly. And you can look this up. It's on civicmedia.us. Also, Governor Evers' website here. It breaks it down. I want to give you some examples. This is important. For a family of 4 who are making $130,000 a year on a silver plan, and then it goes county by county. Give a couple examples. For our MDX listeners here in Dane County, you're currently paying $1,026 a month. If Republicans don't extend this tax credit, it'll go up to $2,073, an increase of $1,047 a month, or $12,500 and change per year. Those listening on WCFW, the TAP in Eau Claire, for a family of 4 on the Affordable Care Act on a silver plan living in Eau Claire, you're currently paying $704 a month. If Republicans don't extend the tax credit, that will go up to $2,703.
Jeez.
A difference of $2,000 or $23,000 a year. In La Crosse, WLCX territory, same family of 4 on a silver plan, is currently paying $887 a month. That goes up to $2,350 a month, or $17,000 and change a year. For a 60-year-old couple, retired, 60-year-old couple bringing in $85,000 a year in Social Security and retirement on a silver plan, if you're living in Dane County, you're currently paying $727 a month. If Republicans don't extend these tax credits, that will go to $2,380 a month, or $19,000 and change, almost $20,000 a year. If you live in Waukesha, WAUK, you're currently paying $761 a month. That goes up to $2,443 a month, or $20,000 a year. That's for a 60-year-old couple. And for you youngins out there, Zomer's age, 26-year-old, making $48,000 a year. Zomer says, I wish, on a silver plan, living in Dane County. You're currently paying $281 a month. That doubles to $408 a month. If you're in Eau Claire, it's going to go from $219 a month to $386. If you're in Waukesha, from $287 to $398 a month. So nobody's being spared. And I think that Governor Evers putting this out now is it's scary, like you say, Zombers. Because look at those, particularly for people, a family or a couple. But look, I've been in your position. For a 26-year-old that might have their own apartment, having to come up with another $167 a month, that's your heat bill and maybe what, your gas bill or something?
Yeah, with rent prices in Dane County right now, that's a lot.
And people living paycheck to paycheck. Think of a family of 4.
Those are crazy.
Having to come up with another $2,000 a month. It's undoable.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting it out there. Now is the time to call your federal elected official, your congressperson, your U.S. senator, and say, get off the schneid. Wake up. Stop this ridiculous partisan bickering and extend these tax credits and get the government back open. because otherwise there's going to be a lot of pain coming our way in the state of Wisconsin. And as John, I used this line this morning on Jane McNair's show. And the late, great John McCain used to say, just remember, boy, everything looks darkest just before it goes pitch black. So
a twist on the common phrase.
So, I mean, this ain't good. And the remarkable thing is the people in Congress have known this was coming. They knew it was coming, and yet let it happen. Well, we need a little Vince Guaraldi right now. A little calmer music. We'll come back with a What's Words regarding leaves here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Don't go anywhere. And news ahead as well. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
WMDX, for people who always put curds before carbs. Madison, Wisconsin. Students, government, lakes, and 92.7 WMDX.
What we're hearing across all sectors of agriculture is that having a reliable workforce remains a #1 challenge today. I'm Stephanie Hoff for the Midwest Farm Report. Along with you on a Tuesday, Karen Geffert joins us. She's the Chief Policy Officer for Edge Dairy Farmer Cooperative and Voice of Milk. She says it's an issue their organization is deeply engaged in.
The rural workforce labor issue is a huge issue. Anytime I talk to dairy farmers, what we hear is labor. They need a reliable, safe workforce. And that's something that we from the dairy industry have been advocating for 40 years. The current labor force, immigration, visa system just doesn't work for dairy. And what we're hearing is our dairy farmers need an entry-level workforce. The only program that really exists that can address that is the H-2A program. And unfortunately, dairy is specifically prohibited from using that program, and it's seasonal.
Last session in Congress, the House Agriculture Committee created an ag labor working group. They wrote out everything agriculture needs from a labor standpoint, and in their report, they approved 15 provisions to move forward for consideration. Karen Geffert says she takes this enthusiasm to get something done as a good sign. We'll take a look at closing markets after this. From mealtime to snack time, Pork has got you covered. Toss chops, rice, veggies, and seasonings in one pan for a weeknight flavor that gets everyone excited. Or add Italian sausage to soup for instant comfort food vibes. It's flavors worth sharing around the table because when pork's involved, every meal becomes the main event. For more crowd-pleasing recipes, visit tastewhatporkcando.com. This message brought to you by Wisconsin pig farmers and the Pork Checkoff.
There goes Pam Yankee across Wisconsin in her Suburban truck. Thanks to Equity Livestock Cooperative, marketing your livestock, financing your operation, and supporting the livestock community since 1922. And to Cleary Building Corp. Cleary Building Corp. Built with pride before the shamrock is applied. Explore clearybuilding.com today. Keep up with Pam at MidwestFarmReport.com and on Facebook and Instagram.
From Chicago, grain markets have closed higher. December new crop corn up 3 1/4 cents at $4.32 a bushel. November new crop soybeans up 11 cents at $10.78 1/4. Cash wheat is up 3 cents at $5.29 a bushel, and July 2026 new crop wheat is up 4 3/4 cents, closing at $5.69 1/4. Class 3 milk contracts are moving in the other direction, with November milk down a nickel at $17.84 a hundredweight, and December milk down 24 cents at $17.12. Despite Class 3 milk contracts moving lower, the 40-pound block cheese closed up 2 1/4 cents at $1.82 1/4. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Stephanie Hoff.
Mad City, biking through blizzards since forever. 92.7 WMDX.
I'm meteorologist Rodney Price. A mostly cloudy Tuesday afternoon with an east breeze. Highs will reach the upper 50s. Clouds tonight will start to break up. Temperatures dropping into the lower 40s. By Wednesday, we're talking mostly sunny skies with highs in the mid-50s. Right now, it's 55.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Listen to the Civic Media exclusive podcast, Busted Pencils.
I mean, that comes naturally
Welcome
for
to
me,
Disney
Jacob, as
Fast
a
Play.
blue-collar scholar. I really love knowing, hey, what are the skills I need to complete the job? And how can I be the very
About 30
best?
seconds.
I really think that
Thank
we
you.
owe it.
Yes. Fall. Well, Vince Crawley's numbers dialing more of that up. Well, autumn leaves for you. Is that
This
more?
one is the Great Pumpkin Waltz.
Oh, the
maybe
great-
a couple of
yes,
days early. but-
Yes. That's good. Welcome back to Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Numbers on the board. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Tuesday, October 28th. It's Halloween time. Great Pumpkin. Where does that rate with your all-time Peanuts television shows, Zombers?
I don't know. I mean, it's probably like it's certainly top 5, I think. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I'd really have to think about it and like write down a list of which ones there are because there's more
Right.
than one might think.
Yeah, there are. I think for me at the top, I got to put a Charlie Brown Christmas.
I think it has to be.
Probably but I bet you, I think it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown for me is probably second.
Probably.
There was a Thanksgiving one that doesn't get shown anymore or rarely unless you have it on
I
DVD.
do like that one. We have it on DVD.
That's a pretty good one. Peppermint Patty and Marcy.
Yep.
Doing their popcorn Thanksgiving. That's pretty good. There's a Charlie Brown Easter, the Easter Beagle.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. What's the one called for Valentine's Day? That's also pretty good.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know
Levi
there was-
Valentine, Charlie Brown, or something like that.
I think so. There was one that they made when I was little that so way newer than the other ones where Linus lost his blanket and they had to go and try and find it.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely
I don't remember
that.
if it was good or not.
This is a newer one. Anyway, Charlie Brown trivia here. All right, very good. Let's do this. Well, no, actually, let's get into it. 36 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this.
Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize. Money involved is your chance to have your voice heard in all 10 news, talk, sports stations across the state of Wisconsin and the Civic Media Radio Network. Timely indeed. Leaves are falling off the trees right now. Category today, raking leaves or cleaning gutters. What's worse? Raking leaves or cleaning gutters? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Raking leaves or cleaning gutters. What's worse? You can also text us on the Civic Media app. Download it today at your Apple or Android device. Simply go to your app store. In your search bar, type in Civic, C-I-V-I-C, Media. It'll pop up. Cute little CM logo. It takes less than a minute. It's free, the Civic Media app. You can also text us at YouTube, Facebook, and what used to be Twitter, X, Twix, whatever you want to call it. What's worse, raking leaves or cleaning gutters? This is a personal one for me because the card, the photos, for those watching on the stream, you have a guy raking leaves into a big like trash bag and using a tarp to kind of put the leaves in the tarp and then move them around. I've done that before. And then you've got a guy who looks like he's in work clothes with a hard hat on and a ladder propped properly up against the gutter, cleaning out a gutter, right? Now, when I was a kid, I would help my grandpa and grandma Wallace clean out they had their house, and right next to it, they had a 3-story rental property. It's an old home that before they bought it had been unfortunately divided up into 5 different apartments. Big house with a kind of a mostly flat roof, 3-story. And my grandpa was deathly afraid of heights. And so, this is true. It can be told now. He would, and I was probably all of like, when he started doing this, like maybe 12. And he would tie a rope around my waist. And then he'd put the rope around the chimney in the middle of the building and have me go out, crawl out onto the edge of the building to get the leaves out of the gutters every fall.
You know, that's creative.
And my grandma would say, Warren, what are you doing? Well, it has to be done. See, my sister checking in, Heather at CFW, the Tap in Eau Claire, says cleaning gutters is the worst. Remember when Grandpa tied ropes around our waist and had us help him clean the gutters on the apartment building? What a story. Yeah. See?
The same thought,
She
yeah.
was typing it at the same time. It scarred our memories.
Yeah, that would.
But see, this is the advantage of having grandchildren. And you had more than one, so they're expendable. You lose one, clean out the
It's
gutters.
all right, yeah.
You still got 4 more. You're fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I cleaned out my grandma's gutters. Sure. She had a house kind of in the woods a little bit. It eventually got cleared out. They made more houses there, but she had not cleaned her gutters in many years. And there weren't covers over them or anything.
Oh, yeah.
So it took forever. It was nasty.
Oh, yeah.
And then we put covers on after that.
They do get nasty. You got to use the rubber gloves.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise,
they were basically just solid mud.
Now, when I was in high school, not on the apartment building, but I think on their house, we got those plastic things you have to cut. And I remember listening to Packers games and being out there on a ladder and putting the covers over the gutters of the house on good old East Hazeltine Street in Richland Center. What's worse, raking leaves or cleaning gutters? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842 on YouTube. PJ says, cleaning gutters is worse because the risk of falling off the ladder. I installed gutter guards on my garage, and it helps.
They really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Off of the, what am I trying to say? The app. How about that, Todd? Off the Civic Media app, Greg in beautiful Genesee Depot, listening on WAUK, says cleaning gutters is certainly worse. Len, listening in, that was something else. He was weighing in on earlier on the Affordable Care Act. We'll read it anyway. Len in Madison MDX says, tax the rich and corporations. Whoops, it slipped down there. Sorry about that. Tax the rich and corporations, eliminate the tax loopholes, go to a universal health care system that controls what health care costs. Well, don't disagree, Len, but first, I would just like to see the tax credits for the ACA extended first. Let's get that done first. Kurt and Madison on what's worse, raking leaves or cleaning gutters. One has a much higher possibility of killing you over the other.
Yeah, and it's the one where you're roped off to a chimney.
Heather Wayne back in Eau Claire said, shocked that no one ever fell off the roof, but thankful. I thought it was a fun game. Not cleaning not the cleaning part, but being on the roof was fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you're a kid, going on the roof is like, I get to go on the roof.
Oh, exactly. You had to go up through one of the apartments and then into the attic we called it the brick house because it was a brick house. And so you go to the attic, and then you got to go up on, and it was one of those it wasn't, I guess it was a tar roof, but like you put the black paper and then it has to be covered tar, that type of thing. So, Len checking back in Madison on AUK, pardon me, on WMDX. It's probably a good thing I'm having my head examined soon, Sommers. Len on MDX in Madison says, having grown up on a farm, cleaning the gutters is worse. Right? Because, I guess it's not just particularly, because my other set of grandparents, the Allbaugh side, they had a farm. And I don't know that they might have had one set of gutters on the side of the patio. I don't think the rest of the house had gutters on it that I remember. But my grandparents, Grandpa Graham Wallace in Richland Center, they had these beautiful maple trees all around the house. And it was gorgeous. And we'd rake those leaves and we'd jump into the huge pile. And for Halloween, we'd use them to decorate the front yard anyway. But it was they've clogged up the gutters like you wouldn't believe.
You get the seed helicopters all over.
Those great big orange maple leaves, beautiful on the trees, but not so much when they're in a gutter. What's worse, raking leaves or cleaning gutters? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Zommers, any feelings on this?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with cleaning gutters being worse because, as people are saying, it's more dangerous, even though as a kid it just seems fun.
Right. What's that big company that advertises all the time on TV? Is it Leaf Guard? Is that what
Something
it's
like
called?
that.
Now, you know, we should have this guy on the show. The guy that you see him advertise, I think he advertises Leaf Guard. He advertises Mad City Windows. And he says, call right now. You get a $50 card to whatever dining just for calling in. Call right now. The first 50 people will receive a gift card. Call now. His voice is really smooth. And he hasn't aged in years. But he does all these different, products. I think Leaf Guard is one of them.
What if we do it the other way around and have you audition to be the voice for a lot of those commercials?
No, I don't have the voice for it. He has a very smooth. He could have been a game show host in the 50s, that guy. I would love to have him on. Anyway, Mom and my stepmother Mary, or Mom. You know what I need, Summers? I need a vacation to Jamaica. No, not to Jamaica. That'd be a bad place to take a vacation right now. I need to sit in the sun. My mind isn't working. My dad and my stepmom, they put on the Leaf Guard 2-3 years ago, and they love it. They said it works. Like the rain, the water comes in, but no leaves in the gutter.
I don't know if it was that brand, but that's what we did with my grandma's gutters. And cleaning them after that was a very quick process the subsequent years.
Kurt Madison on WMDX says, on the other hand, if you don't know you have heart disease, I guess you could die of a heart attack from raking your lawn.
That's
true.
true.
Isn't that a pleasant thought, Kurt, on Halloween week? Dave in New Berlin, listening in, says cleaning gutters is worse. If you're day drinking, you can fall the blankety blank down.
He's right.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, when I was like 14 and cleaning my grandma's gutters, I can tell you I was not day drinking.
No.
Or in any other capacity.
Do we have time for that's how we play What's Worse. We'll have another one tomorrow for you. Do we have time for the Clemens Rogers story right now? No, we do not. Sommer says he didn't even have to look. No, Todd, we do not. We'll play that for you on the other side because I think that's very, very important. We're going to touch on this. I'm not sure whether we're going to get to the whole thing again today or not, but just because I promote it. 60 Minutes, former 60 Minutes producer Bill Owens says bosses discouraged him from covering Gaza and Trump. The former executive producer of 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, and by the way, this is from TheGuardian.com. Owens says he faced intense internal pressure from his corporate bosses to avoid certain stories that had the potential to generate backlash for parent company Paramount in his first public remarks since his sudden resignation in April. In January, 60 Minutes ran a segment featuring former State Department employees who had quit over how Joe Biden's administration handled the war in Gaza. The segment drew backlash from pro-Israel organizations and unnerved Paramount's controlling shareholder, Sherry Redstone, a strong supporter of Israel. Quote, she didn't like the story, unquote. Owens told an audience at Colby College in Maine last Friday evening, where he accepted an award given for courage in journalism. Afterwards, Owens said he was basically told, quote, well, you're not going to do another Gaza story, are you? Unquote. While Redstone didn't call him directly, quote, that message was relayed to me by people with authority over me, unquote. He goes on to this story to tell how basically he quit 60 Minutes to set off a metaphorical bomb to warn people what was coming at CBS if they didn't act. And of course, the merger with Skydance went through, and now you've got Barry Weiss, who is been brought over for the Free Press, who is making her name known as the editor-in-chief of CBS News. Who is she courting to bring into CBS News? We're going to come back and talk a little bit about that, and also play this great cut for our own Mike Clemens and Aaron Rodgers, a great story as well. Stay tuned. It's the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
is cheering on the Brew Crew.
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers thing is like 2.5 minutes.
Oh, is it 2.5? All right.
This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Allure Intimate Apparel redefines what it means to feel confident, celebrating every woman, every shape, and every size. Their expert bra fit specialists offer a refined, pressure-free experience designed for comfort, beauty, and ease. Bra, sleepwear, swim, and lingerie, Allure has it all. With a personalized touch and a commitment to service, Allure helps you feel supported every single day. Visit Allure's
How
new
many
location in the
Peanuts
Hilldale
animated
Shopping Center,
specials
where
do you
bra
think there are?
fans are their focus. Visit allurefits.com. That's allurefits.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck
I'll say
McDowell,
15.
timeshare cancellation guy. In
Way low.
2011, I
Way
founded Wesley
low?
Financial Group with one
No
goal in
way.
mind, to help
Flip the
honest
digits
folks
around.
out of their
There are
timeshares
51.
permanently.
There
Today,
are
I
not.
run
There are
Wesley
51.
with my two sons, a real family business.
No
Treating
way.
Every client and every employee like we'd want.
I would
our
like
own
to,
family
we don't have time, I'd
That
like to run through those
philosophy
because, I
has
mean,
helped us
like,
grow into the
because there was never an
most
animated
trusted
Saturday
timeshare
morning series
cancellation
that I
company
remember.
in the United States. Fortune magazine even
Wow.
recognized us
That
as one of the best
shocks me.
places to work.
I know, yeah.
Why? Because
The
we're
the
genuinely
streaming rights
here.
to Peanuts
In fact,
Media
some
are
of our
scattered
former
across multiple
clients were
platforms,
so
of course.
moved by their experience working
So
with us,
it's hard
they
to
joined
actually
our
just
team so
sit
they
down and
could
watch
help
them all.
others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give
Charlie
us a
Brown
call.
Christmas, Charlie
Let
Brown's
our
All Stars,
family
It's the
help
Great
your
Pumpkin,
family.
Charlie Brown,
Call
You're in Love,
Wesley
Charlie
now
Brown,
for your
He's
free
Your Dog,
timeshare
Charlie Brown,
action
It Was a
kit.
Short Summer, Charlie Brown, Play It Again, Charlie,
Oh,
and so on.
That's
800-822-1598.
Everything is Charlie Brown.
800-822-1598.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. October 27th, Indiana Governor Mike Braun signed a proclamation calling the state's legislature into special session.
Yeah, the
on
way they
November
list them,
3rd
it just
to
says
consider
like the
congressional
title ...
redistricting and a
Right.
tax code.
And you're like, it's
This follows
Charlie
weeks
Brown
of
after
lobbying by Trump administration officials worried that the GOP may lose control of the U.S. House. Indiana is already a very red state, with Democrats only holding 2 of 9 seats, District 1 in Northwest Indiana and District 7 in Indianapolis. Creating a GOP-leaning district will require cracking the existing districts and diluting liberal strongholds by adding Republican voters from adjoining areas. The Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports that the state House has enough votes to pass a gerrymandering plan, but Senate leaders say they're still short of the votes needed. In Kansas, Democratic Governor Laura Kelly refused to call a special session for redistricting, but KCUR reports that Senate President Ty Masterson confirmed October 27th that he has the 27 signatures in the state Senate to activate a constitutional provision allowing the legislature to call the special
30
session
seconds.
itself.
Thank you.
But it's not clear if there are the 84 signatures needed from the House.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Time now is 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock. Top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to. A check of weather. The great Mike Clemens in with Sports Update, and another edition of the Great Maggie Dawn Show from 4 until 6, followed by a fantastic edition of Nightlight with Pete Schwabinator. Stay tuned for that. Always great programming. All right, lots to get to here. Let's start with this, because we said this before the break. I want to continue to follow up on this because I know it's kind of insider media stuff, which I love, but it's going to have very real implications on how we get our news and what's being given to us as the truth. This from the Daily Beast. CNN's MAGA panelist, Scott Jennings, is reportedly flirting with a move to CBS News, where new editor-in-chief Barry Weiss has set out to rebrand the network in a Trump world sheen. Weiss's vision for a CBS News makeover started to take form last week after Status reported that she had approached Fox News host Brett Baer about becoming the new CBS Evening News anchor. Now Semaphore reports that Weiss, 41, spoke with Jennings, 48, at CBS's world headquarters in New York. The news comes after longtime CBS Evening News co-host John Dickerson yesterday announced his exit from the network at year's end. Dickerson, 57, is CBS's first high-profile departure since its parent company Paramount merged with David Ellison's Skydance in August. The Trump-friendly billionaire quickly installed Weiss, a conservative political commentator, as the head of CBS News. Of all the people on network and cable news, Scott Jennings to me is the most. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I can't stand him. If that's the direction that Barry Weiss is taking CBS News, count me out. Out of Africa, out of the kingdom, I wouldn't hang about.
Which, for Todd, if you don't know, counting out of CBS means a lot.
Means a lot. And now there's reports today, we don't have time to get into it, that NBC Universal, who's looking at a merger with CNN, is thinking about bringing in Charlie Kirk's widow to run NBC News.
Which, wow. I think she's like a gymnast or something,
Right.
not a journalist.
My point is we're living in dangerous times on all different fronts. But if you start handing over, CBS already has, to Barry Weiss, and you're seeing respected people like John Dickerson bailing ship already, this thing is, CBS News is going to be a thing of what used to be CBS News. Anyway, we'll stay on top of that. Do we have time for the Rogers thing? Or is
We do. Also, quick correction, not a gymnast, but she was in Miss Arizona and Miss USA.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Mike Clemens, the great Mike Clemens, sat down with Aaron Rodgers before the Sunday night game, which the Packers won 35-25. Here is that great interview.
Hi, Aaron. How you doing? I was listening to your comments yesterday and the good times you had in Green Bay, and all I could think of was that here you are, the MVP. It's like 21, and you're in the back of a red pickup truck with your teammates crossing Oneida, holding up a case of beer. And I retweeted that. It got over 1 million hits of all the things you've accomplished.
Oh, congrats for that.
I mean, what was happening that day? And talk about some of those times that maybe weren't so public.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember exactly whose vehicle that was, but there was like a bunch of cases of beer in the back. So, you guys would always take that walk back, and whether I was riding in the back of a truck or riding on that silly golf cart that D-Bot gave me, we were always messing around, having a good time. Those are some of the most fun. I mean, going way back, we had a crazy crew. I mean, some of the shenanigans and pranks that me and Brett Good pulled on some of the rookies over at St. Norbert's, that the constant battle between Flynn and Graham Harrell and TJ Lang and Josh Sitton, what they would do on the road, it got so crazy. Some of the pranks they were pulling that Mike at one point said, cut that shit out, no more of that stuff, because they were doing some wild stuff. But it's that stuff that I remember, the plane flights. There was a time back then we used to fly on a plane at 8 first class seats, and that was like, Ted and Bob Harlan into Mark and the brass and a couple of coaches, and all of us were in the 3x3 seats in the back. And we had this thing for a while where people just start throwing pillows and blankets at each other, like when the plane was landed. Guys that were sleeping, if you were sleeping. Larry McCarron can probably attest to this because he was always sitting like in a row in front of me. And there'd be guys like flinging the wrapped up blankets and rolling them up into pillows at people and waking. There's always like, some of the media was in front of us and PR and community relations. They'd all be on the same plane, and they were catching strays on the plane sometimes. So, those things are great. It's like, it was such a tight knit group for so long there. I lasted most of them, but it's fun. That's why I feel so good about my time there, because damn near everything great in my life is because of, my football career. My football career starts and will end one day with Green Bay. So I got a lot of love for all those memories and a lot of great friends that I still carry with me to this day.
Aaron Rodgers, former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, now with the Steelers. Great interview there by our sports reporter, Mike Clemens, asking the cool questions. I remember when Clemens tweeted that out with Rodgers in the back of that pickup, but it went viral. It went national. And so, look, whatever we think about Aaron Rodgers leaving the organization, I think he showed a lot of class this last week in how he treated the fans of Green Bay and the organization. And like Brett Favre, he'll be one day welcome back in when he goes into the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. Great job, Mike Clemens. Really appreciate that. Great job to Zommers. Thank you, all of you, for listening. Ray, by the way, is on the cleaning out his gutters. He says, I have to clean up my grandma's gutters every year. Always hated it until I figured out I could use a cordless leaf blower. And now it only takes me 10 minutes. So hey, there's a hack for you. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate that. Stay tuned. Maggie Dawn is next. We'll have Trigby Olson and Pat Kreitlow here tomorrow. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. Todd Allbaugh saying have a great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.
Banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
Adios, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.